call it kind of a monthly segment here where Mike gives some loves to players who maybe aren't getting enough love around the league. And to kick things off, we're taking a look at a blue liner who wears a big B on his chest, Matt Griswick out in Boston, Mike.
We all need some love, Tyler. And I think Griswick was probably a little bit overdue for it. And he's been buoyed recently by a 5 point game that he had on January 10th against the Washington Capitals. Had a goal and 4 assists, but he's been way better since about the beginning of December. And you look at his last 7 games, he's got 8 points. I think a lot of it for Matt Griswick is that he just really cleaned up the defensive side of his game early in the year. I mean, he didn't have a point in the first 10 games. He was dash three several times, and it just wasn't going right for him. And by the beginning of December, things started to go better. He got a couple points and he's got 14 and 33 now, but now he's starting to get some power play minutes again. He's looking more comfortable dishing the puck from the top. And, just being able to have some confidence, I think, comes from playing good defensive hockey. When you have the puck on your stick, when you're able to get it there quicker, you can get things going forward. And I think it was just really important for the Bruins because this is a team that needed to get scoring. They needed more from their D. And when they split up the top 2 lines, they moved Pasternak down to play with Hall. That was step one, but they also just needed more from within from the blue line. They're starting to get it now from Griswick. It wasn't there at the start of the year, and he's just behind Charlie McAvoy as one of the top defensive scorers for the Boston Bruins.
Number 2 on your list is a guy who really bounced around quite a bit early in his NHL career, but Anthony Duclair has found a home in Florida, and he continues to thrive down in the Sunshine State.
Yeah, and what about Duclair I like is that he's been so consistent this year. This isn't a case of like Griswick, somebody who's turned it around and they're coming on strong. Duclair hasn't gone more than 2 games this year without having a point. And his plus minus, plus 28. This is a guy who John Tortorella almost flat out said, I don't think this guy can think the game at the NHL level. I don't know if he can play it. Well, he has found a home. You look how many teams he's played with in his NHL career. He's got a baker's dozen, it feels like. It's way less than that. I'm being facetious, but he's only 25 years old. And he's got 30 points in 30 games. This is a career pace for him. And I call him under the radar because he's 5th in scoring on that Florida Panther team. They're deep. They have very good players, but you need these depth signings to come in and perform for you. And that's Duclair. Teams didn't trust him when he was younger in his career. He goes to Ottawa. He has to rebuild. He becomes his own agent, which was a really bold move. But I tell you what, it's helped out the Panthers because you get Anthony Duclair, 16 goals, 30 points in 30 games. He's got 2 more years at just $3 million as a cap hit. Tyler, that's a steal for the Panthers. Duclair's been really good this year.
Yeah, and it's funny. We talk about a guy like Timo Meyer, right? And we go, oh, so much upside there. And we talk about what his future could be. And then with Duclair, and maybe it is the fact he's played for, I think, 6 teams already in his career, but you almost sit there and he's in your head as like a journeyman player. But it's very realistic that this is Anthony Duclair of the next 5-6 years. Like his best hockey could even still be in front of him at just 26 years old.
Yeah, it could be. And especially the way Florida plays, this was a really up-tempo, fast team that he fits right in on that lineup. You can put him with Barkov or Huberdeau. He can skate with anybody. That's one of those intangibles that will always get you places in the NHL.
To wrap things up, we are going between the pipes and a backup goalie who's continuing to put up some really, really strong numbers as the season goes on, Mike.
It'll be interesting to see if Capo Caco is no longer the backup goalie by the end of the season, the way things are trending. He's been excellent in his last several games. You look at the last 4, he's 3-0-1. Yes, he lost to the Colorado Avalanche last night, but he stopped 38 of 41 shots, and that's kind of been a theme for Capo Caco. He tends to play better when he faces a lot of rubber. And I look really at his last 7-8 games dating back to the beginning of December. He's been fantastic. He has not had a game below a 920 something save percentage in that time frame. And I just wonder, is Kakko finding his way? Kakkonen finding his way in the NHL finally. Last year was his first year. He's coming out of being the American Hockey League goalie of the year 2 seasons ago. He has pedigree. But you'd see him at times, he's playing very wide and out of his crease, and you're thinking, man, I don't know. NHL players might be able to feast on this. And they did it a bit. They figured him out. He couldn't win games at the end of last season. That's flipped now. Again, he's 5-1-1 and Cam in his last 7. And Cam Talbot has been struggling lately. Talbot hasn't won since December 9th. So there is opportunity here as you see him with the stats that Talbot's numbers are starting to regress while Capo Kakonen's are going the other direction. You wonder, for a team that needs some wins, the Central is a tough division. can Kakinen be the goalie for the Minnesota Wild? He's making his best case right now, and he's young. They could ride him for a long time in the future.
Fantastic insight as always. That's going to do it for another edition of Under the Radar.